yeah, and any questions at all during, I'm happy to take. It's lovely to see familiar faces. It's lovely to have new people here. Yeah, thanks very much. It's great to have familiar faces because I do butterfly training every year, and always having the familiar faces, keeps me a bit on the level. So that's good to see. Thanks very much. So yeah, my name is Denise McGowan, and I'm here today to talk to you about fit counts. So that's the flower insect timed count. So you have a flower, you count insects, and it's for a certain amount of time, hence fit counts. Very straightforward. So this was a new survey set up by the UK Pollinator Monitoring Scheme, and that comes under the UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology. Now, Nadine Machunas, who was supposed to come over in March when we were doing the butterfly training originally, and she was going to talk about fit counts. So she created a presentation, so I've used some of hers in this today, so I thought I'd credit her as well. Nadine was going to join, but I think she's out doing field work while the weather is still good, which is great. So she, if I have any questions that I can't answer, I can go back to her as well, so that's great. And then I represent Wildlife Jersey. That's our team that gets as many people involved in wildlife surveying and everything like that. And then there's this fit counts comes under the Pollinator Project initiative as well. Pollinator Project originally started in Guernsey, and then obviously such a great idea that Jersey wanted to get involved as well. So it's a partnership now here, and it's got the Jersey Beekeepers, Government of Jersey, National Trust, the Jersey Biodiversity Centre, which Sarah belongs to, Trees for Life, Natural Jersey, I believe, I'm reading these now, the Societe, the RJA, HNF, and the Good Jersey Life, I believe, are all. So it's a lot of people coming together, doing lots of, you've probably seen the signs out for the Pollinator Project. This is the Pollinator Patch, and people have done surveys on pollinator patches, and that's another thing we're trying to do as well, to get people to out doing. So that's an introduction. So obviously we have a great reliance on pollinators out there. So we need them for our food, and we need them for wildlife to survive. So we've many wild and cultivated plants we depend on insects to pollinate, and then this gives successful seed and fruit production. But there are concerns, obviously, that our pollinators are declining. So we need to have more data now, really, to show changes in abundance of different pollinators. That's the key thing now, that it's showing the evidence for these declines. We're all saying it, but the more evidence we have to support this, the better that we can get people to change and to make a difference. So last year there was a project carried out by Hannah Crespel. Some of you probably met her, and she did it was for her studies, university studies, and it was an Earthwatch internship, and she also got backing by Government of Jersey. So she worked alongside local experts and within our team as well, and she produced a great report. And in it, what came out of it was that the fit count survey methodology was the best for Jersey to take on, using, considering the size of the island, and also considering local expertise, and using citizen scientists as well. So volunteers, which we hope some of you will sign up to be and do these quite straightforward surveys. So yeah, it's a simple survey, collects data on the total number of insects that visits a particular flower. They're your target flowers, which we'll come on to in a bit. So you don't, training isn't necessary. Don't switch off straight away, please. But it's good to recap all of this, but all of these resources are available online through the POMS website. Just search fit count on the gov.je website, just search fit count as well. There's a pollinator page, and it's about halfway down. And also on the Pollinator Project website itself, they've put up the resources as well, which is great. So it's all out there. It's been taken up by Ireland as well, so it's really going across the British Isles, the survey. So that's good to know. So how to survey? I hope everyone can see everything okay still. So there's a bit of words there, but I like to come over to the little image on the right hand side. So if it's sunny outside, you're looking at a minimum temperature that you need to survey in is 13 degrees. Partially cloudy, bit of sun, your minimum temperature should be 15 degrees. And then you carry out the survey anytime you want between April and September. So that's from the start of April until the end of September. So that's your guidance. That you wouldn't go out in real wind, a gale. Who wants to do that anyway? So again, it's another lovely one to get people out into lovely weather. So there's some YouTube videos, and I believe Sarah actually put this in the events page, the links to this. If not, if you can't find it, I mean, come ask me or ask Sarah and we'll point you in the right direction. I believe Nadine created that first one, the flower insect time count. She might have done the getting familiar with insect groups, so we recommend watching them. The insect grouping it can be a little bit tricky, but it's all done practice. Practice makes perfect. Go out, you learn as you go. Same with butterfly identification, as I often say in my butterfly training. You'll just get your eye in as you do it, and you just got to trust that will come. And it's actually really nice because you can actually feel, you're learning as you go. So when you're surveying, you can carry out several counts at one location. You can go out more, and obviously the more you go out, the more you do a site, you add extra value to your survey records. So that's quite important as well. But you could do it in one place and then move to another patch of a different target flower in another place, and do that a few minutes later. It's all okay like that, as long as you fill out separate forms for each one. And we'll come to the form in a bit as well. So just continue a little bit more on how to survey. So you choose a suitable area. If you're lucky enough to have a garden and that has target flowers in it, great. There's also, you'll find a lot of these in parks, in woodland areas, edges and that area set aside for wildlife. Here in Jersey, we have SSIs, a lot of SSIs, which are sites of special interest. So you're bound to find a target flower. I mean, that photograph there shows ragworth, which is one of them. So obviously we have a lot of public access sites, but if you are going to go onto somebody else's land, just make sure you have permission, and safe to survey. So obviously safety of volunteers is always something we consider. I mean, this isn't a high risk thing, but we always like to say, if you're going to carry out a count at any location with suitable flowers, and if there's no need to go out to a remote site. However, if you want to travel for it, that's a good idea to let somebody know where you're going, how long you'll be, and when you intend to be back. This is just good practice that we say to a lot of volunteers when going out and about, just so people know what's going on. So then, when you're actually surveying, we'll go on to quadrats in a little bit, but what you're actually doing is you're counting every insect that lands or crawls on a flower head. I was watching a video earlier actually of somebody else doing similar training like this in the UK. It was a shorter session, but they said, if it's on the leaf, you don't count it. So you're just looking at the flower of the plant. But try not to count an individual insect twice as well. And they say, you can use the other insect category if it's unidentifiable. We'll come on to that again as well. So do not take photographs during the survey. Now that's tricky because obviously you're there, you're counting, and you're going, oh my goodness, what's that? And you just naturally want to take a picture. But what they say is that it could disturb the insects. You're taking out your phone, you're moving a bit more with the flash of the phone on the reflection and things like that. So it could also then affect the count results. So take photos after if it's possible. But just know that you'll learn and you'll get used to it as you go. Take a photo of the plant species as well. They often they ask for this in the online form. I didn't put mine in, I realized afterwards, but if you can put it in, then do. And any photographs that you've taken, because we have local identifiers, Tim Ransom is one, verifiers who verify the photographs that come in. And it's a good way to learn as well. And when you fill in the online form, if somebody needs to get in touch with you, they can, if they really, really need to discuss a little bit. But I don't know if that happens much, to be honest. They say also try not to kind of lean over too much, which I found myself trying to do a bit with the heather. So you're trying not to move. So you set yourself up in a way that you can easily see all that you have encompassed in your quadrat. So we'll move on to quadrats now. That's what you'll need. You'll need a quadrat, you'll need a way to measure your 10 minutes. So I just use my timer on my phone, and the quadrat, you can buy one if you want. They're about £14, £15 on NHBS. I'm sure there's some available on Amazon as well. The resource, which I'll come to later, there's lots of resources, as I said, on POMS and gov.je, showing how to do a fifth count, shows you how to make this one here in the middle out of gaffer tape or duct tape. So it's just, you measure it a bit longer than the 50 centimeters, fold it over on itself, and then use a bit to cross over on the corners. I made mine out of wool, which you can see on the right there. I just plaited some blue and yellow wool. It didn't get caught in the thorns, which was lucky. So I just measured out a bit longer. I think it's about 120 centimeters to make 2 bits, and then I can easily make my square using that. And so that really helps as well. So you can see in the bottom picture, which might be people that Nadine knows, the quadrat is hung on the bramble there. The same if it was on hawthorn, lying flat if it's on like your buttercups or dandelions. So you'd want to position yourself. You can stand or sit down, depending on what sort of vegetation you're looking at. Yeah, and then the third thing that you need, obviously, is the form, which we will cover in a minute as well. So the target flowers. So they're chosen from this list of 14 species. That's what POMS are really hoping that people will be able to go out and survey on. However, if you can't actually get to those, and you don't have any of them growing near you, but you have other flowers that you can survey, you can use them. Just tell them what species that you surveyed in the form and take a picture as well. That would be good to have to submit on the form. Also in the Jersey Flower ID guide, they've added a few more species in there, and these are ones that, to help, I believe they were used in a lot of the pollinator patches, such as cornflower and that. So there are other flowers, but this, so dandelion, buttercup, white dead nettle, hawthorn, which I think here is all gone over really into fruit, bramble, that's all coming out now, lavender, common or greater knapweed, heather, hogweed, white clover, ragwort, thistle, buddleia, and ivy. So they're the key 14 ones that you can. And obviously in the flower guide, it tells you the month of the year when they will be out. So it's really useful like that. So, and then you can see in the picture I have the gorse there, and that's another one especially for Jersey. And they often say when is gorse not in flower in Jersey. So between April and September, you should be okay with that. No. Oh, that was supposed to appear like that. Okay, so that'll be the video. I'm trying to think. Oh, there we go. No, that's wrong. Sorry. The target flower. So this is going on. This is my video. Sorry, that's what's going on. This here, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Let's see if there's any nods. So this is all on gov.je. So this is the how to carry out a fit count. The top link there, that goes to the POMS website. The field recording form, that goes to the POMS website as well. The online recording form, which is on iRecord. And then the local flower ID guide, it's a big long title there, I must change that. The local insect guide and the YouTube video, how to carry out fit counts, is all there to link into. So if I play the video, this will just show the flower ID guide, and I'll talk through it as it plays. I'm just going to link onto it there. So this is the one that was made up with local experts beyond the 14 target species. So you can, so it comes up as a PDF. So you can print this off, and this is easy to take into the field. That was the idea as well behind this and the insect, the local insect guide. So here you can see I'm highlighting this additional target flowers suggested: cornflower, gold marigold, and then over to the other side with the thistle, the white mustard, radish, common gorse, and the tufted vetch, and the bird's foot trefoil. So they're the extra target flower species that they've added in for Jersey. Then there's the insect groups that you need to come to. So you just need to identify insects to their group level, not to species level. Few, because it is quite a tricky one. I really hats off to those who know their insects. It's a lot of learning. I recently tried to look up dragonflies and was blown away. So the 10 groupings are bumblebees, honeybees, solitary bees. Bumblebees, going back a little bit. I believe there's about 6 species in Jersey known, but there might be about 4 or 5 common thereabouts. I'm getting the head from Jim thereabouts maybe. Honeybees, there's 1 species. Then the solitary bees, well, I've included Tim's image there on the right. It shows that there's a fair few different species, all right. And then it's a learn as you go with them on finding. Wasps, there's a good few species of that. Hoverflies, I'm slowly learning a bit about them, as they're my son's favourite. He likes to catch them and call them old Patrick for some reason, but there you go. Then we've got other flies, which would be more like your household flies that you'll know of and things. Butterflies and moths, I don't think I need to explain them. Come back to me if I do. Beetles, there's many species there, like you're talking about your ladybirds and that. Small insects less than 3 millimeters. Yeah, so you can imagine that's quite small. And then other insects, this includes your true blood bugs such as shield beetles. But you can use this category if you cannot ID the insect. So that's okay to remember that there is that, oh, I don't know what it is, you put your dash in your other insect. So there is a resource online on the POMS page that goes into a lot of detail to help with ID. So that's the UK resource. I recommend looking at that. However, as I said, Hannah's study actually suggested that the resources be adapted for Jersey, including the target flower guide, which we just looked at, and the insect guide. And the idea is that you can print it off and carry it onto your survey with you if you like. So this is what the next 2 slides are going to show. So we'll go through insect groups a little bit again. And all photo credits are to Tim Ransom on this one, I believe. So there's the bumblebees. Most people are fairly okay with them. I believe there's a hairy-footed flower bee that is a little bit like a bumblebee. Then there's the honeybee, it's 1 species. So I thought, yeah, I'm grand with honeybees. And then you kind of come across the solitary bee. Then you look at the leg colours and you look at the antennae, and then you just get your eye in, is what I believe. But I will double check occasionally, and that's okay to do. It's okay to double check all the time. Then you got your hoverflies. So they have shorter antennae, as this is showing, big eyes, 1 set of wings, and no waist. So, you know, there is quite a difference there, all right. Wasps are wasps, but obviously you have some variation there. Some of them have quite a long body. So again, it's looking, I did actually see one when I was doing, you know, something that was different, but it didn't come into my patch. But it, you know, as you're looking, if there's nothing happening on your patch, something catches the corner of your eye and you might look at something else. So you will learn definitely as you go. I keep saying that, but you know, repetition gets it in there. Butterflies and moths there. Then your beetles, they're showing a different variation of beetles there. Then you've got your other insects, which includes the true bugs, the shield beetles, ants go under that as well. Small insects, really small there, 3 millimeters less, and your other flies. So that's all the groupings there, and that is definitely very handy to have when out in the field. So the form. So it's just 2 pages. This is them. Now I know you probably can't see it depending on what sort of thing you're looking at, but what I wanted to show by bringing up the form is there's actually not that much to fill in, which you'll see when I'll show with my forms as well. So it's very easy to complete, and it mentions the target flowers. So you won't be able to read it here, but this box down here on the bottom, towards the bottom left of the first page, lists the 14 target species. And then it talks about individual flowers, flower heads, flower spikes, which is what heather has, umbels, which is like their hogweed and card parsley. And then over here on the right, you're just doing your tally. Oh, I saw 1 dash up 5 across. You know, it's a simple way to keep a count. To get the form is available on gov.ie. The form is available on the POMS website. You can print it off if you like, or contact me if you need help with that. Again, when I was watching that video earlier, Martin Hardy from the UK, he had said that, you know, after doing it a few times, you'll just use a notebook, back of an envelope for that to write down, because you'll be used to the information that you have to record. It's that straightforward. So I'll show you one of mine. This was from the first one I did with Bramble. I hope you can see a little bit of that. So I was on Dune Scrub. So if you look over on the right-hand side page, in the other insects, I've just written a little note to myself. And then when I did a little research, I think I came up with that it was a solitary bee, that one. So, you know, you can make a little note yourself as well, and then it's recording the weather conditions. Another thing that was interesting here is I made a mistake, number of flowers in patches. I ticked them all as flower spikes, when really they were probably actually all, I should have counted them as individual flowers. So then I went back and did that using the photograph that I took, which is on this page down here. So yeah, the one on the left there. Also, what was interesting, I probably said that this bit blocked out a bit behind, so I did have to shift a little bit. So I learned from the next time, you know, maybe I shouldn't have put it right there, because I was blocking a little bit around it. This bit grew out in the middle there. And the wool didn't get caught in the thorns, which I thought would happen. As soon as I went, oh yeah, bramble, I didn't think of that. Wool, but no, it actually worked grand. So. Yeah, I stood for that one, and then for the heather one, I sat down. And yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely to just stop. I was in the middle of doing a butterfly transect there, and it was just lovely to stop 10 minutes out, and you wait for the wildlife to come to you. Like wildlife surveys like that are great. You know, it's lovely to just, you know, you're proper taking stock of things and you're willing, like a butterfly flew really close but didn't actually come or land in my patch. I was like, would you come back and land in? You know, you're really like cheering on. So you really do get into it. Yeah, so I think I've covered all of that. This was my second survey form. I don't think there's anything really to point out in this, just that I got different count, obviously, different sort of insects flew in there. I was glad I got 2 moths and a butterfly in that one, so that was good. And yeah, so we move on to then the online form. So it's very similar to the paper form, and therefore it's just as easy to complete. So it just goes down. I'll show you anyway. I have a little video. Email address. So obviously we encourage people to sign up and make a login for iRecord and the Jersey Biodiversity Centre. So it's best to use the same email address for all of those, because then it's all kept in one as far as the records go. So, and if you are doing it in your garden, you don't need to include your full address if you survey, just the street name or the town is fine, they say. Yeah, it's also really good to have an iRecord or Jersey Biodiversity Centre login, because you can just record wildlife when you're out and about generally. So that's really useful to have. If it goes on iRecord, it all gets sent straight to the Biodiversity Centre as well. So they keep all the local records there, which is a brilliant resource to have. Okay, so this was the video then I made of filling in the form. So I populated it. So it's just showing, there's lots of information there to help you going through it, and you can lock it off if you're doing it regularly. I did actually have to put in my name again. Didn't realise that at the time. I was honest, I'm not great at all the pollinating stuff. So I had to type in LeBlanche Bonk Dunes, and then you find the location. So you're zooming in on the map. I had it set up so that I wouldn't take ages doing it. Still takes a while. And then you drop your pin. Now I didn't drop it exactly because I wasn't going to take too much of your time. And you can click on that blue plus sign on the side, and it will change it to satellite as well. So that's a handy thing to have. You just drop your pin as to where you took your count, and then keep going down. Then it asks you like the target flower, the habitat that you're in. I had to put Doom, other for Doom. Bramble was that one. So I put in the 40 flowers after counting. And your time as well. You can add a photograph there of the habitat of the target flower. So that's where you put in a little bit about the weather, the sky, that's on the form. And then it just asks you these extra questions as well. And then you press submit, and off it goes. Again, you can add a picture of the insects into that as well. So This is a recap then of what you need to do. You create an account on iRecord, you make your 50 centimetre quadrat any way that you can, print out the form, and you can contact me on the.mcgowan@gov.je or wildaboutjersey@gov.je. Find your target flower and enjoy sitting and surveying. As I say, the next one has all of the resources. Again, I've said this enough times now, you should know. On the POMS website, search POMS in Google, Pollinator monitoring scheme, and then on gov.je you can search for the account on Pollinator project. Definitely recommend the YouTube videos. And this Facebook group, this is a really, really useful resource to have. This Insects of the Channel Islands group, run by Tim Ransom. Now, this is really, it's a lovely community. There's great photographs on there. Anyone can ask a question saying, can you ID this first? And people will get back. They ask that you just put in the location and the date that you took the picture. But it's a great way to like scroll back through and learn insects that way as well. Obviously, they'll probably give species name, and then you'll want to bring it back up to group, but you can do that easily enough if you're so keen. And then another great resource is Jersey Biodiversity Centre, obviously they're hosting. And I think that is me. Yes, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for the Pollination Monitoring Scheme and the Pollinator Project for sharing their resources. Thank you for listening and staying online. It's been great to have you all. And I'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
Denny.
Denny, do you want to unshare your screen so that we can see the figure?
That's awesome. Oh yeah, there we go.
Lovely, thank you.
Denny, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one, well, it's not so much a question as perhaps we could possibly add something to the insect side of things. I know that some people won't be able to identify them, but given that we are one of the islands that are now suffering from Asian hornet invasion, it would be a really useful tool for us in the hunting group to be able to get information from whoever is doing the fit counts if they actually see and positively identify one in the field. Yeah. If they could contact me or Alistair, who is our coordinator, and giving us, a location, of the sighting, and preferably a photograph as well, then we can respond to that very quickly. Then, okay. Great, that's a great idea, Bob. Yeah, I think we'll try and get information out about that. Yeah, and the other question really is with the fit counts. If you are if this is going to be an ongoing thing year on year, where you put your quadrat each year, do you use the same location for the specific plant species, or can you vary it? As far as I know, you can vary it, but if you go to the same patch year on year, that's only going to add more valuable data for that specific spot. So yeah, thanks for that. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay, that's it. Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Bob.
I've got one in the chat from Ruth about some clarification about whether we count all the insects that land on the flower heads of one chosen species in our quadrat. So I think what Ruth is, we're not, you focus on one species of flower, but you record all insects?
Yes, all insects.
Yeah, rather than different species of flowers. No, so if your quadrat is in.
Can I just clarify? The query is, and I think I know the answer because we've got a quadrat, is the examples that Denny had there were, let's say, 10 bramble heads within that 50 centimetre quadrat. So you count any insect in 10 groups, or however many it is, that lands on any of those 7 bramble spikes within the 50 centimetre quadrat. Correct?
Yeah, so all insects that land in.
Yes, that land in the quadrat, not a single bramble spike. Okay, good. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Grand.
I have a question. If there is more than one type of flower within the quadrat, what do we do then?
That is a good question, Jill. That's probably one I'm going to go back to Nadine. I think
I know the answer to that one. Because I did a lot of these tests with students last year, so I had to learn it. And you ignore them. You ignore the other flowers.
Right.
You only focus on the species you have selected.
Yep.
You ignore the insects
Everything
that are
else.
landing on those other flowers. You just focus on your species.
Okay.
thank
It's
you.
hard to do. It is hard. Especially if you've got quite a busy quadrat. I would suggest maybe for your first one, just go for a quadrat which has one species of flower, and kind of like ramp up the level a bit, and by the end you'll be an expert at doing a really busy quadrat.
Great, thanks, Sarah. I saw a question just popped up about rain. Yeah, you wouldn't go out and survey on a rainy day.
We've got one from Powell. Is there a certain number of months of the year the survey takes place?
Yes, from the start of April until the end of September.
Same as the butterflies.
Yeah, September. Okay.
I have a tech question.
Yeah.
For the iRecord, how do we find it? Because I cannot find it for the life of me, for the actual reporting on my iRecord app.
So have you got a section that's called activities?
Yes, and it's coming up blank, empty.
So is there a little like label at the top that says my activities, and then next to it that says all activities?
I'm just going to put my phone online so that I can see it live. Hang on a second.
There is also the link from on the gov.je website or the Pollinator project website that will take you direct to the online form.
No, it's saying, sorry, no activities data is available at the moment. I may need to renew my iRecord.
Yeah, it might be something like that. And then you add fit counts as your activity. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes, so there's loads of activities for different survey forms, and you'll be able to search for that specific, the fit counts. And if anyone is going to be using the JBC website, it is very similar to iRecord. They're built on the same system.
Right.
And we will be doing some kind of videos where we can show you how to find kind of search for the fit count. But like Denny said, it is sometimes just easy to use the link and get it a little bit quicker that way.
Yeah.
But we will help you out when it's time for you to input your data. You can always just email us and we can help you. Hopefully in person maybe soon.
Sarah, sorry, did I miss that the answer to Max's question? If nothing lands on the flower in the 10 minutes, shall we still submit the form?
Yes, should still submit.
Thanks.
A good question as well.
Any other questions?
Oh, yes, another sped pollinator.
It's fine. No.
Oh, here we go. From Pal, how many times a year would you hope each person went out and surveyed?
That's a good question.
As many times as you like. Obviously, the more the better. Really, really is. Yeah. I mean, if you want it to be just one, but obviously, the more the better. All of this data is lacking, and we need to just collect more and more data. So as many times as you can would be great.
But you do have the limitations of it having to be a certain kind of weather and temperature as well, which might limit how many times you can go out.
I feel like it's been sunny the whole time. I don't know what's going on today.
So can I come in there? Because for the person who is from Pakistan, those dates, those months may or may, it's still Northern Hemisphere, but those months may or may not apply.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not quite sure. There might be a local answer for that question.
Yeah, so if you're coming from a different country, so not from the UK or from the Channel Islands, what I would do is I'd recommend you to search for your local group or society. You might have a natural history group or maybe an entomology group, and they might already have a surveys that they have already set up. If they don't, feel free to kind of take this talk that Denny's done as inspiration, and maybe you could set one up where you live. And that's kind of how these surveys move around the world. People just see ideas and they take them back and use them for their own country.
Fine. Okay.
Okay, we're finished a bit early, but that's okay. If you have any more questions, you can either message me through the Jersey Biodiversity Centre. I'm going to write my email up here now. I will be emailing everybody who signed up through Eventbrite the talk, and also we're going to get Denny's presentation as a PDF for you to have a look through. It's also going to be up on YouTube and also on the JBC website. It's on the Pollinator website as well, all the information that she's talked through. And so I hope that once you go away from today, you'll be able to join in and find all the information. Sometimes it can be tricky to find the stuff that actually you need to get started. And yeah, happy surveying, and I hope the weather stays good for your fit counts. Denny, do you have anything to add before we leave?
Oh, thanks very much. Thanks for all that attended. It's been very lovely seeing you all, or hearing from you and knowing you're there. Thank you.
Bye, Sam.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers now.